Hello and thanks for checking out ChartGuys.com. We're proud to be one of the most successful technical analysis communities online, teaching you the skills to become a more confident, effective, and informed trader. Join our community of hundreds of analysts worldwide working together to learn the charts, generate profit, and achieve financial independence. For access to daily live chart analysis and market coverage, a thriving chat community, along with dozens of hours of exclusive educational materials. We look forward to seeing you. Let's check out some charts. Hey everyone, checking in on the market overall. So a pullback day today after our bearish reversal candlestick, looking for the daily lower high yesterday. We certainly got significant follow through today. I want to talk a little bit about mindset first thing. So as I mentioned in the video yesterday, I had a fairly frustrating day yesterday where I had 3 trades and I ended up break even, and I didn't get an entry for what I determined was the most likely scenario of a daily lower high because there just wasn't a setup where I liked the risk to reward. And it would be so easy for me to open my computer today, see a gap down open, and say, oh man, and think about the past and lament, and I should have done this, and I should have this much profit right now. And that would completely derail my morning of trading. And if I have that negative mindset just in the back of my mind, it's absolutely going to affect my trading today. If I look at it and say, oh, I just missed my entry, I was right. Looking for the daily lower high, my analysis was on point. It was just the execution that needed a little tweak to get perfect, and start into the morning with a fresh, clean slate and trying to recover from that feeling off kind of day yesterday. Just want a day maker today, back to my base hit, comfortable flow routine, and that's what I focused on. So I had a positive mindset. I ended up trading LABD for a quick day maker, and then I traded SPXL for a little bit of a half day maker, or the other way around. But either way, it was a solid day, 1 to 2 day maker kind of day, and I'm back in the flow and feeling comfortable and feeling confident. So, you hear so many times positive mindset. Yeah, easier said than done, but having that positive mindset can make all the difference in the world, because without a doubt, I would have had negative impact on today's trading if I was carrying over yesterday's action into today. So we saw a solid bounce today on SPY. 5-minute time frame, we hit the low. I played an oversold bounce on SPY, and really playing SPXL, all I needed is that move right there, and I exited on that move to lock in a day maker. We ended up hitting a double bottom, little weak bounce attempt, dropped down to a new low of the day. How did we know to be looking for that new low of the day to not get bear follow through? Well, you look at XLF and you look at QQQ. XLF hit a new low of the day at 11:30. QQQ held its low of the day and never broke it from that point on. So if QQQ is not going to break the low of the day with XLF, we know the S&P 500 is not going to see significant further downside. If the SPY bears were going to take over again and see another flush down, QQQ would have to break its low of the day as well. I cannot stress enough how much information I get as far as just little clues on which direction to be looking based on what those 2 major sectors are doing and how SPY is trading in relation to that. So SPY ended up getting a solid bounce. We then had another day where, just like yesterday, big bull move on news, big bear news on news, big bear move on news. Same thing today. Big bull move up on the Fed speaking, Powell talking, big bear drop in response to that. I mean, take your pick as to what headline you're going to be looking at, whether it's Chinese Trump trade war stuff or what the Fed's saying. It's going to be an action-packed, headline, news-driven month with what we have with the trade deal and with the FOMC at the end of the month. And where we stand on this bounce, we knew we were just looking for an hourly lower high. At one point in time, we had a solid bullish hammer on the daily time frame, but it was just an hourly lower high. What is the first indication that our daily higher low has been established? An hourly trend change back to the bulls. We didn't have that, so we weren't fooled into thinking our daily higher low has been set. We dropped down to a new low of the day at the end of the day, and the bears have momentum into tomorrow with the close at the low of the day. The uptick in bear volume, it's all about 284.82 for me. We're still 1% above that, over 1% above that support level. So tomorrow we could drop 1% and still hold that. Still watching to see, can the bulls change the hourly trend back in their favor to give us a daily higher low before 284.82 support breaks. Hourly RSI will likely be in oversold conditions if we do drop down into the mid 280s tomorrow. Also watching the oil inventory report. Let's skip to oil real quick. Oil on the daily time frame, its low was October 3rd, high of the bounce October 7th, trying for a higher low. SPY, low October 3rd, high October 7th, trying for a higher low. So the oil inventory report tomorrow, I'm always watching the correlation between the S&P 500 and oil. Sometimes it's strong, sometimes it's non-existent. But if oil were to change this daily trend, probability needle would tick up for the probability that the SPY bulls could change their daily trend as well. If oil has a bearish reaction to the inventory report and drops to a lower low, you better believe that that's going to impact the probability that SPY is going to drop down and break its low as well. QQQ, much more space to work with, but need an hourly trend change back to the bulls to be looking for a higher low compared to 181.82. Aside from day trade positions, where we stand in this market right now, I would not be entering anything other than day trade positions until we have clarity on this range. So I would need this range to break before I would be comfortable looking in either direction for more than a day trade. XLF has to hold a higher low compared to 26.45. So again, my strategy, I use it on the 5-minute time frame of watching XLF and QQQ and looking for clues on how SPY is going to trade. Same thing on the daily chart. If XLF drops down and breaks its low and QQQ and SPY haven't yet, that increases the odds that they will follow. If XLF breaks its low and SPY breaks its low and QQQ does not, then we're going to anticipate that SPY will at least initially hold its August lows. So clues based on what the major sectors that make up the S&P 500 are doing. And it's really just looking at things a bit more zoomed in terms of using a microscope, whereas rather than looking at the whole of the S&P 500, we're looking at the little individual details as to what the sectors are telling us on their own. XLV has to hold the low of 87.20. Big bearish Maribozu candlestick today after the gap down open. What's the hourly RSI? Not oversold yet. So all about 87.20 support into tomorrow. Everybody's watching their daily supports into tomorrow. XBI pulling back. Bulls have to hold 72.97 to try and form a higher low. What was my LABD trade today? I took it really early on. I saw the market weakness. And the market weakness first thing. I saw this XBI bounce, and XBI made its way back towards the high of the day. At that point, the high of the day was 75.93. This is the first 20 minutes of trading. And after hitting 75.93, we pulled back and we bounced. Trying to get these lines lined up. There we go. So the size of this bounce was much stronger on the 5-minute than I observed on SPY or the other major sectors. So I thought, okay, these other major sectors are still weak. I'm just looking for a lower high here. I'm going to look for the inability to break the high of the day. So I entered LABD and I put my stop under the low of the day for LABD, which would stop me out if XBI did break the high of the day. And then we dropped down to a lower low, and that was the worthwhile trade there, where I did end up, I'd sold half and then kept half at a stop loss. We didn't break that resistance, came down, and then I sold the other half when it did look like the market bulls were holding on just fine. So using the momentum of the sector, seeing a little bit more strength in XBI than other sectors, and wanting to play off of that, looking for a further weakness to prevail. The VIX, daily higher low now established, so we're keeping this higher stair-step pattern going. The bulls had to hold 1580, we held 1640, and now we're looking up at 2150 and 2160, this little double top, as the bulls, in order to see this level break, we're likely going to have to see SPY break its recent low in the 284s. Certainly possible. Otherwise, we'll look for the lower high and tightening daily range if we see hourly trend changes in these sectors and the S&P 500. Gold, trying to change its daily trend. Bulls are going to have to break 1520 to do so. That would give us a little higher low and higher high. And the gold bulls definitely want to see SPY break its support, because that would only be some added momentum for that change. Silver already broke it. Only by a penny. It's still a little double top, but that increases the probability that gold's going to break its resistance as well. So a higher low, bulls want to get a little bit more follow through, but we did break resistance, and we'll see if they can get some follow through into tomorrow. Bull miners, strong moves here, so they're still holding on. We started with what looks like a very weak bounce, and then we got follow through with some strength. So no closes at the high, upper wicks into closes at the high and momentum. What I'm looking at is, if we condense it down, just this lower high. So I want to see, if I'm all cash, which I am in this position or this sector, I want to see the bulls get as overextended as they can on all short-term time frames, up as close as possible to 38.18 resistance, so I can make a bearish entry, and I would trade DUCST in that scenario. So I want to see DUCST drop as fast as possible down to support of 618, so I can make an entry based off that support. Let's say we drop down to 630. I enter at 630, put my stop down at 615. I'm risking 15 cents. And ideally, we see an equilibrium where we hold 618 and then look for a bounce back up into the mid to upper $7 range. So it remains to be seen, but that's how I scout out a trade, where I'm just looking at this and saying, okay, I expect 618 support to hold, but we're still pretty far away from that level. You know, I don't want to enter here and have 9% of risk before my stop out level. So I want to see another solid red day tomorrow. I want to see 4-hour and hourly RSIs get oversold. And then I want to make an entry based off of that support. US oil, already went over it. Inventory report's going to determine whether we test support or try and change the daily trend to test resistance. And natural gas. Daily lower high has been set at 2384. Bulls are trying for a higher low, so we have to hold 219.9 and break that resistance level to change the daily trend. Still a lot of similar setups across equities and commodities here, all looking for daily trend changes, and we'll see who can pull it off. Thanks for tuning in. Do good things. We'll see you tomorrow.